welcome to the very first episode of the Major Remix. I'm your host, Kailee Mayenschein. Our program takes a look into the many areas of study offered here at Morehead State University. Today we'll be looking into the military science program with our guests, Captain Branam and student Kline. And then, with the minor mix, Nikole will be talking to Cam Stamper about the political science minor. We'll be right back after this.
Now, how should we set this scene? Maybe it should be outside? Maybe not. Let's try a car. Kinda cramped. How about a stairwell? That works. Now for music. Too silly. Perfect. Now for dialogue.
I'm here with our guest, Captain Branam, but before we continue our interview, would you mind taking a look at a video with us?
Yeah, absolutely.
The video that's about to play is a video shot around campus about what students think the military science program is.
If I had to take a stab at military science, I would say it's more about the organization and like the operations of the military, like how and why things are set up and kind of their purpose and how the military functions.
The first day that I was there, they made us hike into the woods and put on face paint, learn how to apply face paint, learn how to like sniff one of those like ammonia pellets. Everybody else went out there in their like military garb. I'm out there in Crocs.
Like how firearms and everything else operates and how you would work under certain conditions.
I think of like the engineering components that goes into like the tanks and such, and like the computers and the science of like what programs that they have to use.
So military science to me would be like JROTC or different things that you can do within the military or getting into the Army and helping the states.
So I think military science is science of military.
Leadership class right now. I'm sure there's a lot of those sorts of classes.
You learn about science in the context of the military, the different branches of the military, and as a result, the different careers.
Weapons and whatnot, chemicals, just even probably down to the element of uniforms, what material works best.
I think military science is how the military works and how it functions, maybe.
Teaches you essential leadership skills and qualities so that as you go on in your career, you're able to make a lasting impact.
Welcome back. So we will now continue the interview. So, Captain Branam, can you describe the military science and ROTC program?
Yeah, so military science is a university-based program where at the end of that program, we're actually looking at commissioning second lieutenants into the United States Army, whether that's the active component, National Guard, Reserve. So basically the whole so what of the military science program is to develop leaders, to teach them the skills they need to be successful in carrying out operations.
So can ROTC be separate from the military science program? Can students participate in the military science minor without being an ROTC member?
So yes and no. So they can participate in the program. In order to achieve that minor as military science, you're going to need to take all 100 to the 400 series, so your freshman to senior year classes. However, if you're not working towards contracting and commissioning as a lieutenant, it's going to be really difficult to keep in that 300 and 400 level class.
So what kind of program-specific scholarships are available for students?
Sure. So speaking with Cadet Kline after this, he can probably give you more of the specifics for that. If not, highly recommend people that are interested come and talk to Farley, Mr. Farley at the third floor over at Button Auditorium. He can give them the kind of the specifics on that. The long and short of it is ROTC is responsible for commissioning over 70% of officers in the United States Army. With that, the United States Army has dedicated over $30 million worth of monies dedicated specifically to scholarships. So there's definitely money out there. There's definitely opportunities out there.
Yes. Thank you for your time. Thank you for letting me interview. Yep. It's been good. We'll be right back after this with our student guest, Kline, to talk further about the military science program. Thank you. Welcome back. I'm here with our student guest, Austin Kline. So what did you think of that video?
So there were a lot of good things, and there were also a lot of far extreme things. So the program as a whole, it focuses on leadership development and those kind of qualities that we look for in leaders in the U.S. Army. The chemical and the weapons, those things, those come along the way, and we don't necessarily focus on those here in the program.
Yes. So, on to the interview questions. What kind of career options are available for students after graduation?
So after graduation, if you've stuck the course, you've taken the 300, the 400 level courses, the sky's the limit basically. You can go anywhere in the country, you can do almost anything. If there's a civilian job for it, there's an officer, commissioned officer role that fits that as well.
So do most or many students after graduation, do they go into military careers or civilian careers?
They can do both. So if you want to go active duty, that can be your main job. You know, Monday through Friday, even on the weekends sometimes. They're doing active duty Army. If they want to partake in their civilian job, then they can join National Guard, Reserves, that sort of thing, and do both at the same time.
So what sorts of classes would a person in this program take, like specifics? Are there any that you've taken that you think you should talk about?
Yeah. So you take your military history classes and then also military science classes along with the classes that you take for your major that you're taking. So I've taken many classes about leadership development, basic Army knowledge, and just those sort of ballpark areas.
Are there any specific events or activities that your program puts on?
Yeah, so for high school JROTC teams, we host a Spring Raider Challenge event where they can bring their teams. We have a series of events, and the competition's really cool because it's bigger than anything else they've ever gotten to do with their school, and it's just a really cool opportunity. And then we also do fall and spring training exercises. So we go out, get in the woods, get to sleep outside, and learn to practice our leadership skills that we've learned, and practice the tactics that we've also learned in class. So
it's very interesting. So I'm going to ask you about scholarships as per Captain Branam's request. What kind of specific scholarships are offered to students in this program?
Okay, so you can get a 3-year, 4-year, 2-year, any sort of scholarship like that your needs require. So coming into college, I was looking to get the 4-year to cover the whole time I was here, and I ended up with a 3.5 years. So that covers all 3.5 of those years, and then the 4th year I had to pay out of pocket, which is very doable for a college student.
Well, thank you for taking the time to do this interview. I really appreciate it.
Yep, no problem.
We'll be right back after this with Nikole doing the minor mix with our guest Cam Stamper about the political science minor. Thank you.
Well, I had a lifelong dream and a goal to move to Las Vegas. So when I moved out, each hotel had their own house band. And I started a 3-month union residency to become a member of the community. And then about 2 weeks after that, I got a call out of the blue asking me if I wanted to go on the road with Buddy Rich. And I knew that at some point in time I would always want to come back and teach college somewhere. I just never thought in a million years that I would wind up where I began.
Nick with the Minor Mix. I'm here with my longtime friend, Cam Stamper. And what's your minor, Cam Stamper?
I'm a minor in political science.
Oh.
Yeah.
So is that about 15 hours of credit hours?
It's 15 credit hours.
Okay. So is that like a heavy workload?
Well, you think that it would be, but really it's spaced out in such a way that it's not as big as a toll as your major would be, especially in the way that it would be broken down in a theory class, where we would often do 20 pages of reading per class at the most. And it's not too noticeable.
Well, general, does this minor, does it complement your major pretty well?
It complements it very well because you can't have law without politics and you can't have politics without the law. Both of them have such an impact on each other that I can't see any world without them both intertwined, and they're very compatible with one another. And it helps you understand the law more once you understand the politics behind the law.
Do you think that's why you chose the minor?
Well, I chose the minor kind of by chance. I know that's not really fun to say, but I was in a class with Dr. Little, who's also my advisor, and it was an intro to Western political thought class. And it was an interesting class, and I wanted to learn more about the theory and then eventually the actual political science, because it's split up into those two categories. So.
Okay, I heard that class has a lot of reading in it. So what's one book that you read that you really enjoyed?
Well, if we're talking about Dr. Little, he's a real big fan of Plato's Republic, which establishes sort of a basic makeup for all of political science that follows it. It discusses a theoretical city or a republic, and that delves into certain themes which makes the city the greatest of all other cities. So you can kind of base that off of everything else.
Okay, well that sounds really cool.
I think so, yeah.
So, your favorite book, so what's your favorite class from the minor?
My favorite class is definitely American political thought, because it also kind of doubles as a history class for America, but it does it in a more intellectual light, the way that we get to understand some of the thoughts and feelings about certain historical moments and figures. And it offers a different understanding of what we've been taught all of our lives.
Okay, well thank you. Your advisor for your minor, can you tell us about their information?
Yes, so if you're interested in political science as a minor, go contact Dr. David Little in Raider on the 3rd floor. You can reach his email at dhlittle@moreheadstate.edu.
Okay, well thank you. We'll be back with Kailee in a minute.
That's all we have for this episode of the Major Remix. If you are interested in the military science or ROTC program, you can get into contact with someone at fj.purvis@moreheadstate.edu, or you can call 606-783-5256. Be sure to tune in next week for another in-depth look at the programs offered here at Morehead State University. Thank you.